Welcome back to College Football Addiction. Our video today with Drake C. Toll of Locked On Big 12, presented by BetUS. We will talk more about them in a moment. Drake, I've heard of coaches banning a lot of things. I've heard of a lot of different angles that coaches try to take to keep their guys out of trouble. That banning of anything has really, really slowed down, I feel like. And I remember, so in 2013, there was a social media ban at Florida State. The guys, literally their last tweets were like the week before Labor Day. And then that was it. When the season started, that was it. Now, Florida State did go on to win the national championship this year, so I can't say, or that year. So I don't know if that worked or didn't work, but no Florida State players or fans were complaining afterward. It was funny to watch them all like run to the locker room and tweet at midnight in Pasadena. I've never heard of what West Virginia just did, though. Let's talk about it.
West Virginia is banning TikTok. If the United States government won't do it, Rich Rodriguez will. He will say, Congress, I'm one step ahead of you. My football program will not have TikTok in our locker rooms. This is per 3 guys before the game. It's a pretty reputable West Virginia podcast. And Irrational says, new Rich Rodriguez is banning TikTok from the West Virginia football locker room ahead of the upcoming season. Just give credit where credit is due to those who are reporting this. I loved the comments too. Good move. Focus on the game. Someone else says, that's great. Less social media, more kicking butt. Rich Rod is awesome. They're there to play football. Good. Based. And then we get to where my first take was, what about Twitter? What about Instagram? What about Facebook? I mean, we're banning TikTok. What is the point? And where I deduce, what I can deduce from Rich Rodriguez is Twitter brings bulletin board material. The Facebook comment section, there's some bulletin board material there. The Instagram comments, there's bulletin board material there because people are consistently talking about sports, consistently talking positively and negatively about your programs. It's impossible at this point to check every peel the curtain back a bit. I pledged a fraternity when I was in college, and one of the rules was delete all social media for the X amount of time while you pledge here because you're going to focus on learning the ways of the world in this fraternity. And doing that at a college football level, it's impossible. We can't check every guy's phone and, they hid that app. No, just do TikTok. There's not a lot of sports on TikTok. It's mostly brain rot. There's the dancing and the Let's leave all that to the Savannah Bananas, and we'll let West Virginia focus on football. So no more TikTok in the locker room for the Mountaineers. And I wouldn't be surprised if other coaches who seem similar in the Big 12, like a Dave Aranda or a Mike Gundy, decide to make this call with their players. And to be honest with you, TJ, if I'm serious about football, if I'm a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old who's serious about college football and my future with the sport, I want to make money with the sport, I don't need to be on TikTok in the locker room anyway. I need to be focused on winning Big 12 games. And to instill your culture day one, what Rich Rodriguez is trying to do, to reinstill it, I guess, now that he's back, it's important to have little things like these that the entire team can rally around football, not dancing music videos.
Yeah, the thing I'd agree with you on and kind of wonder about is, I think I'm a little bit older than you, and I'm 34 years old. I don't use TikTok personally. I have nothing against it. I just can't be on as many apps as we're on these days. You got to check, like you said, a million things. So I end up just seeing all the cool viral TikToks 3 weeks later on Instagram Reels because I'm a millennial and that's what we do. So I just wonder the effectiveness when I think these guys are still going to get this content and it just show up to them in other formats, right? Like they're still going to, like if somebody, you can say you're banning something, but if somebody really texts one of these guys like, dude, you got to check out this TikTok, it's hilarious. Or it's, it's you're going to enjoy looking at this. We'll just leave it at that. Are they not clicking it? Like they're clicking it. And whether they have to not download the app, like that's one thing, but they're clicking it and they're watching on their mobile browser. Get ready for a rush with the BetUS Casino. We've told you about the sports side a ton, but they have promotions and tournaments that make every play even more rewarding. Sign up now and experience the difference. Get your bonus, a 200% sign-up bonus up to $5,000 and a 250% crypto bonus up to $5,000 right now at the BetUS Casino.
Everybody's been there. Look, I remember when I was, 7 years old, I would sneak my Game Boy under the pillow. And then, as bedtime was always 9 or 9:30. And then, Dad walked in and, you're on your Game Boy. I mean, we've all found ways in the past to get around the rules with something similar to this. even if it's not a cell phone and social media, it dates back to the Game Boy. And certainly West Virginia players will take advantage of that, I'm sure. But that's where, for me, it opens up a different layer of this onion for Rich Rodriguez. He's going to ask the senior members of that locker room to look around and hold other players accountable. How well do your older players embrace that rule and enforce it upon others? Because it's not just one guy, Rich Rod, who's looking at all the phones and keeping it all, but it's a matter of players holding each other accountable, saying, "Hey, this might seem a little odd. It might seem even." I don't want to say cringy, but there is an element of this like, oh, of course, coach is going to take everybody's cell phones. Oh, this is a boot camp. There's part of that, but if your players buy in at that point, you can win everything over. When I was playing high school football, we ran the double wing, which TJ, the double wing's going away. Every team we played ran the spread. We were all bored out of our minds running the double wing, but it was effective. And the front of our playbook says, "Do you believe in miracles?" The double wing. And that was what they passed out every year, the first day of football practice. And if the seniors bought into, "Do you believe in miracles?" then everybody's bought into that. It's not this cringy, weird thing you say. There's so many sports traditions and so many things we do that the outside world looks at it and goes, "That's really stupid and cultish." But if we all decide that it works and we all decide we're going to do it together, it can be something that lifts West Virginia to the next level from a focus standpoint. And I don't think that's bad. I mean, you've got kids, TJ, like talking about where social media has gone in the last few years and the negative direction it's taken, the negative impact it has on development. I think this is a good rule. Can we ban it from the train stations, from subways, from airplanes, from airports, from classrooms? I'm fine reducing social media as much as possible, especially now that a lot of those players are getting paid millions of dollars to be in that locker room.
Yeah. I remember being a kid and I had a little like 5-inch television that only picked up like analog. Like I don't even know if the Radio Shack doesn't exist, dating myself again, but they stopped making them quickly after that because people started getting like things that could also pick up like streaming or whatever. But I remember when the Lakers would play late at night on or on ABC or just whatever, and it was way past my bedtime. I would be in there like with the covers over my head playing. And my dad never really came in and caught me or anything, but there were definitely mornings where I had been up till like 1:30 in the morning and he'd be like, "You stayed up late last night watching Kobe and Shaq, didn't you?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I did." And he'd be like, "Ah." So dad does always find out. I will bring that full circle. Like Rich Rod will find out, right? Like they like you said, the accountability, the senior leadership. Do you anticipate that the players, I'm asking you to speculate here, do you anticipate the players are bought into that? Or do you think there will be some holdovers that are just like, "You ain't gonna tell me what to do"? Or do you think they will really buy into like this? To me, it feels like more of a, "Hey, I just want to earn your trust," right? Like, I mean, I think all those other effects that you just said, the way that we develop the use of social media, it's just a black hole of crap. But don't unsubscribe from, College Football Addiction or Locked On Big 12. Make sure you're hitting those buttons. But pay our bills, please. We need it. But do you think that there will be pushback? Do you think there will be pretty good buy-in here?
At Colorado, yes. And no slight to Colorado. They do things differently. They embrace it. They say, go make money off TikTok, go live on TikTok, do what you need to do. At Florida State, at Miami, at even LSU at this point, you can't go around banning TikTok in the locker room. That's not going to fly. At West Virginia, in Morgantown, amongst the coal miners, if you're going to represent that state, which I do think Rich Rodriguez does, he's from West Virginia, you have to be blue collar. If that football program is going to be blue collar, they have to take these little monikers from the head coach and embrace them fully. I believe, based on the culture at West Virginia, the history at West Virginia, that is a program where the players, the seniors will step up and say, "We didn't need TikTok anyway. None of us are TikTok famous. Put it down. Let's go to work." That seems to be what the vibe is in Morgantown right now, and that's very positive to build programs.
Drake, I appreciate you for coming on. I appreciate BetUS for their support. Where can people follow you and find more of your work?
Yeah, at LO Big 12, at Drake Cetol on Twitter, and wherever you find your podcasts and YouTube with Locked On Big 12.
Thanks, buddy.
Anytime.